Stephen A., do you think LeBron's comments will have any impact on Kaepernick's situation?
No. And the reason why I don't believe that is because I don't believe billionaire owners care what LeBron James or anybody else has to say. They live in their own world. I want to commend LeBron James for saying what he said. Not only is he right, I think that being the iconic sports figure in this country and one of the top two in the world as far as I'm concerned, to be as socially conscientious as he is, his willingness to tackle issues. You just can't say enough about that. The gratitude from not just the African-American community, but the American community, the world community, should be aimed in his direction for that, because he shows tremendous courage on a lot of occasions where he does not have to. He could live well and mind his business and just go about the business of living his very affluent life. He does not do that. He tackles issues and he deserves credit. And a lot of times he puts his money where his mouth is and he puts his name on the line. He deserves to be commended for that. The problem is that billionaires live in their own world. I was taught this a long, long time ago by several Hall of Famers who will remain nameless. They said they live in their own world. They don't have to answer to folks the way that most of us do, because they are incredibly insulated and shielded from accountability, because there's so many dots below them dealing with things on their behalf and manipulating the proceedings on their behalf, that it's rare that you have to deal with them. Jerry Jones is an aberration. Bob McNair and his comments is an aberration. For the most part, you don't see it. Listen, James Dolan for the New York Knicks is a perfect example, because rarely do you, I mean, you can talk about him, but rarely do you get to attach anything to him, because there are things going on around him.
Yeah, if you talk about him, he'll throw you out of the garden.
That he may very well manipulate, but it doesn't get attached to him because he's shielded from that shrapnel of criticism. And so as a result of it, I would love to believe that LeBron James' words would have an impact. But those owners are going to look at him, despite his greatness, despite his wealth, and they're going to sit up there and say, you're an athlete. At the end of the day, there's levels to this, and you ain't on this level. And as a result, he's not going to have that impact. I'm talking about the billionaires. I'm not talking about anybody. I'm talking about the billionaires. They just live in a different world.
I love your point about that. That's exactly right. And part of the problem there, just to piggyback off that just for a second, is they have yes men around them. When you're very powerful and very rich, the people surrounding you tend to be yes men and women. And so you are convinced that you're right a lot of the time, right? And in addition to being insulated from pressure. Or that you can
operate with impunity.
Right, sure. But I also say the answer is no for different reasons. It won't make a difference for different reasons. Number one, people are entrenched in their positions already. It's not like people are on the fence. I wonder about this. Like, people either think he deserves it in the NFL or think he doesn't, right? And the people who think he doesn't deserve to be a quarterback don't think he's not good enough to be a quarterback. They think his behavior is disqualifying, which is, in the view of others, absurd, including my own. But so I don't think LeBron James weighing in on it is going to convince the people who think Kaepernick's being treated unfairly of anything else. They already believe that. Or the people who think he's not. Oh, ha-ha, LeBron says it. Now I see the light. No, so I don't think it makes a difference there. Also, I'm just shocked that this is the first time LeBron's weighed in on it. When we were talking about what we're going to talk about today, and it's like, hey, LeBron made these comments, my first reaction is, we're going to talk, like, LeBron hasn't already said something about Kaepernick? In other words, everyone's kind of weighed in already. And we know where LeBron stands on issues of social justice, for example. He's strong on that. So I was surprised to learn or to realize that LeBron hadn't commented on Kaepernick already.
He did a year ago. I mean, he did about a year ago.
He's clearly right about it, but he's not going to convince anyone who thinks he's wrong. I mean, certainly on the substance, does anyone think Kaepernick's not good enough to at least back up? Does anyone think Kaepernick's not one of the best 64 quarterbacks in the NFL? And some teams carry 3 guys, the best 75 quarterback in the world? Of course he is. No one even disputes that. The question is his behavior disqualifying? And LeBron obviously thinks it's not, and I agree with him.
Well, we both agree with him, but playing devil's advocate for a second, the biggest point to bring up is that you don't hear people saying he's not qualified as a quarterback. You don't hear people saying there's 64 quarterbacks that are better than him. What you hear people intimating is that the pigs on the socks, the Fidel Castro T-shirt, the girlfriend tweeting, Leonardo DiCaprio's character in Django, along with Samuel L. Jackson, and comparing that to Steve Bisciotti and Ray Lewis when they were thinking about bringing him on board in Baltimore. They're saying that the behavior, whether it's that of him directly or people associated with him, that he tends to co-sign by not saying anything. They're saying those kind of things disqualify him because he's not worth impacting our bottom line. We adamantly disagree with that. Okay, in the NFL, if you're going to brag about it being the #1 sport in America, and you're going to brag about it being at the top of the heap, then don't tell us that Colin Kaepernick's presence over the long haul is going to dramatically impact the National Football League. But you do have folks who say, yes, it will, and it's already been proving because of the decline in ratings, revenue, et cetera. So you brought up the red zone, and now don't tell us that that hasn't.
I'm going to do a final take on that.
That's right. You should. I think that would
I'm
be
going to do a final take on the
you brought it up.
influence
That
of
wasn't
red
me.
zone.
That was Max Kellerman. You brought that up. Red Zone, because it is a great channel. It's a great thing they do on Sundays.
Talk about the effect on ratings in the NFL.
That's right. But in the end, what it comes down to is simple. LeBron James is absolutely right. If anybody could be critical of what he did, the only thing you could say is that he should have been this elaborative sooner. But then again, that's not for us to say.
You know something
that's
about
his comfort zone. That's his comfort zone.